All right, what's happening, guys? This is Bill back at the Wall of Tools. Welcome. It is afternoon here. Beautiful day in the neighborhood, but definitely a little bit of a later start than usual. A lot of meetings this morning at work. Not a super good excuse other than kind of take care of business and didn't have the time this morning. So, but that's okay. We are back on track here. Today we are talking about the Dewalt 20 volt max 12-inch chainsaw. All right, so I'm gonna pull this sheath off here. I wanted to show you what it looked like with the sheath on. It has the extended run time, all that good stuff. Yeah, and so let's take a look at this here. Right here, back here is the battery housing. You can see it's pretty flexibly done. You can get lots of different batteries in there. Slides nicely, pretty accessible. I like that they didn't try to encapsulate the entire battery with some sort of like pouch or compartment. It's just open. It's easy to see. It's easy to see your battery indicator here. Easy to slide in and out, but not really getting in the way. It's got kind of those standard chainsaw safety features that you're comfortable with already. So you've got the chain lock here. Forward is going to lock. Pull it back is going to release. A couple other things. This is definitely more of a DIY or less of a pro saw. No surprises there. It is electric. So you've got the chain tightening is actually rather than using a nut, you've actually got this handy toggle. So it's a lot easier. You don't have to pull out a separate tool. You've also got the bar tightening up here, which is very handy. And then kind of in the same vein, this is going to be your bar and chain oil here. So it makes it really easy. It's all toolless. It's super handy. Definitely kind of made for that person who's probably not making some serious wood cutting and more just trying to get something done around the house or the garden. All right, so let's talk through the good things first. It works, it cuts, and it is small, like a very small pruning saw. So you've seen those like real mini chainsaws. Some of them even look like a I don't know, like a big scissors or something like that, but they have their oscillating chain. And this is probably more of that segment. They do sell a 60 volt through Dewalt. That's quite a bit bigger and has quite a bit more power. But for me, that doesn't really check the boxes because if I want something bigger with more power, I'm gonna switch to my full-on gas chainsaw, which I will do a video on. I have a dope steel pro style saw. It is awesome. But really what I was looking for in purchasing this was kind of to fill the void between this amazing super powered saw and cutting with loppers. And that's really what this guy is doing for me. So let me show you what it looks like. Oh, one more thing real quick, safety wise, it does have a trigger lock here. So that go trigger isn't gonna do much for you, but once you push that in, it will, oh shoot, I don't have my battery in. Once you push that in, it will allow the chain to move freely. So let's turn off our lock. Oh, excuse me. Turn off our lock. There you go. And you can see it works. It definitely does not have the power of a full-blown gas chainsaw. There is no question. It's not even close. But for what it is, it's really nice. It's quiet too. Again, not super quiet, but compare that to a gas chainsaw and you'll realize you're in different categories in terms of ear. So for me, I still wear ear protection just because I'm a weirdo and it bothers me if I don't have it on. But I think for most folks, they making a little cut here or there, they probably wouldn't even bother to put it on. Yeah, so a little bit underpowered, I think, compared to some of the other cutting tools maybe in your arsenal. But for this, works really well. Again, like sometimes like I just need to get through something that's a little bit bigger than what a lopper will do. And they need the ability to kind of cut, right? Like a lopper is constrained by how wide it can be open. And this, as long as you've got enough battery and you can pretty much sit there and honk away at it as long as you want. So that part I really like. It is a little heavy in my hand for how small it is. Like a 12-inch bar here is just not huge, right? It's basically a small pruning saw, but it's heavy and it has quite a bit of edifice here to support that. And so it's just not quite as portable as I would have hoped. Although I will say it's really easy to, it's easy to carry. You don't have to worry about grabbing it. It's easy to, there's lots of these big chunky handles on it. And so I think for what it is, it does a pretty good job. Yeah, let's go ahead and take out a piece of wood. So I mentioned to you guys a couple days ago, we had a pretty heavy rain. Some branches fell. I did process most of them with the gas chainsaw just because I had a big job at the time. But I grabbed a branch like this because we've got some thick stuff, we've got some thin stuff, little stuff, bitty stuff. So we can kind of see how it performs across all those, and then we can make our assessment here. All right. So hopefully you can see, I'm gonna swing behind the camera real quick, angle this down just a little bit so you get a better view. And let's start making some cuts, see how it's working for us. All right, yeah, I really gotta angle that down. Okay, perfect. So, I'm gonna throw on my ear protection here, guys. And, okay, you probably got a somewhat unflattering view of me, but that's okay. We wanna see the goods here. All right, so test one. We're gonna start with the smallest branch here. Obviously it'll cut really small stuff, but you know, you're not using a chainsaw because you need to cut tiny branches. So we're gonna skip through those, hopefully cupcake tests here and see how we do. You can see real nice, definitely not as smooth. Even something this small, you start to feel the resistance, and it's not a super clean cut. But it's a chainsaw, it's not a finish saw. So just for reference, this is the cut that was made with the gas chainsaw. You can see it's relatively smooth, but again, it's not perfectly finished. And then here was the electric. So quite a bit more warbling, not a big deal. It's possible that I just need to sharpen it too. But in my mind, it's always been just a little bit of a messier, raggedy cut. So you can see here, and you can get a good sense for the diameter of the stick here. Okay, let's move on to something a little thicker. So I'm gonna grab this guy here. You can see how it compares. Yeah, let's see what it does for us here. I love that I have ear protection, but no eye protection here. I'll stop being a hypocrite and grab my eye protection real quick. Sorry, guys. Alrighty. Slightly thicker branch, test number 2. Let's see how we're doing. All right, you can see here, not a problem. Takes a little longer. You still gotta let the weight of the saw do the work for you. But as I was saying, it's a little heavy for what it is. But again, if you're letting the weight of the saw do the work, that can be kind of a good thing. So not too bad. Great. One thing I will say that I don't love is that, especially with these 20 volt max batteries, and we've only made 2 cuts, but it does go through battery really quick. I don't have a problem with that because at the end of the day, if I needed to make a ton of cuts, I would use something bigger, or at the end of the day, like, it's just easy to grab 2 batteries and swap them out. So it's not a huge deal. But if this was the only thing in my arsenal, I think I might be kind of upset about that. Okay, let's go to something a little bit bigger. We'll watch, and then I'm just rather than stop and explain, I'm gonna make this cut, flip it around, make the second cut, and just let you guys watch real quick. All right, ear protection, and let's go. Okay. Alrighty, pull forward. Okay. Not bad. All right, let's see the big boy. Now we're getting into real chainsaw territory. Awesome. Cake, right? Pretty solid, fun little machine. It is what it is. It is not a full-on pro-style gas chainsaw. You see these guys crushing like a huge log like on TV. It's not that. It's a small pruning saw. It is what it is. And it does a great job at that pruning saw segment. That's what I think here. As I mentioned before, it's kind of a bridge item. So if I'm using my pruners, I'm using my loppers, Maybe every once in a while there's a branch in there that's just too big to be worked by those, and that's when I've got this saw in place. It's just really easy. I don't feel, and maybe this is wrong, but I don't feel like I need the full chaps and have a helmet with a face shield and everything like that. I don't feel like I need that for this. I feel like the kickback would be minimal, if ever. Very easy to manage. It's not going to have big swings once you cut through the wood. It's just pretty well self-contained. And so for me, it's just a little easier to set up. Like I said, you don't have to have ear protection. It's not that loud. So yeah, it works great for that kind of interim segment. Any pruning, things like that, be awesome. And you know, for lots of applications, like this may be all you need. If you're not doing major tree cutting, tree trimming, you just have a garden and occasionally you need to cut down something a little bit bigger, then I honestly would recommend this to you. I have not tried the 60 volt max. Like I said, I just feel like my gas chainsaw fills that segment really nicely. And ultimately the convenience versus the power, I'd rather have the gas if I need something bigger. So definitely a pretty fun tool. It looks nice. I haven't had any problem with drips. I like that they really thought about the consumer experience and said, how can we give you a chainsaw that doesn't require you to use any tools in order to service it in the field? So I really like that. And thus far it's been great. I haven't put a ton of hours on it, but when I'm out there doing pruning, it's awesome. I will say my wife would never touch the gas chainsaw. It's not, she's just not super comfortable with it. And this is the kind of thing I can put in her hand and she doesn't feel like anything's unsafe or, you know, I don't know, we'll have our kids outside with us. We're obviously not swinging it around, but she feels comfortable working with children nearby with something like this. So love to know what you guys think. Love to know what other brands and different sort of price points and segments you found with these electric chainsaws, because I think it's kind of interesting. I really love it. The only thing really is the battery. And again, I just don't view this as a super, super high use item. So if the battery doesn't last forever, I'm totally okay with that. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully we'll have another great video tomorrow. See you around.